Welcome to the Home Team Podcast, where we believe that no matter what uniform you wear, as long as you're in Sacramento and you're trying to make athletes and coaches better, both on the field and off the field, then you are a part of this home team here in Sacramento.
Team, baby.
That's
Let's
right.
Go.
I'm one of your hosts, Josh Takimoto. With me is Coach Greatness, Kevin Bracy. What's going on, Kevin?
Man, I'm excited to be with you, man. Home Team Podcast. Let's get it. Let's
do it, man. So obviously today we don't have a guest, but we're just going to chop it up a little bit and talk about success today. I remember when I was going to speak to one of our previous guests, Coach Horner. He asked me to speak to his football team maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. And he's like, "Hey man, I would love to have you come out to talk to my team." And he wanted me to do this talk where I talk about this swimmer and how she's dealing with this fog that she's lost in, and she's trying to overcome this thing. And usually I'm sharing that story as far as with this idea of you're trying to overcome certain obstacles as you're trying to achieve something, right?
Right.
And so he's like, "Yeah, I would love for you to do that talk." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." But then when I started doing my research on his team and their season, they were undefeated. And not only were they undefeated, but they were smoking teams. These scores weren't even close. So then I'm thinking, like, how am I going to, why does this message even apply to them? Because they're crushing teams. There haven't been that many obstacles for them this year. And so as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I'm like, man, maybe it's the success that is the obstacle for them. Maybe if they get so lost in their success and they get lazy and they get complacent, then maybe that's the danger. Instead of all these obstacles and challenges that they have to overcome, maybe it's being focused in the fog so they don't get lost in success. So, I just had this idea, like maybe we talk a little bit about success, especially, with you. You've been an incredible speaker, communicator, entertainer for so long. But as long as I've known you, you've continued to grow and evolve and change. And it never, to me, seems like you get complacent. Like you have so much material over the years. You could just recycle all of that stuff and just say like, "Hey, I'm just going to recycle it. I'm not going to put that much effort in." But that's not who you are. So I guess let's just start there. How do you stay so hungry when it comes to being the best you can possibly be and being great?
Wow. I think the answer to that question right away, I think it's a great question, first of all. And I enjoy it because it causes me to really stop and think, because I'm always moving. But the answer is in the title. And I am not here on Home Team Podcast here to sell books. That's not what I'm doing. Let me preface by saying that.
Sure.
But the title of the book behind me is Scared Great. And I didn't just make that up because that's a dope title to me, but there's meaning behind it. I've been scared all my life. I've been scared that I wasn't good enough, scared that I wasn't smart enough, scared that I wasn't talented enough, scared that I would be a 0. I mean, I knew I wouldn't always be a 10. I just didn't want to be a 0, but I was afraid. I just had this fear that maybe I was just barely not enough. I was just a little bit lesser than some of the players on my high school team or college team. Those guys were getting drafted and getting picked up at D1s. And I was thinking, man, am I going to be able to do that? You know what I mean? So I think the thing that drives me is fear. Fear of not living up at this point to the standard and the vision that I have for myself. That's what keeps me going and keeps me driven. See, in baseball, I always, when I look back now, I played ball to put myself in a position to keep playing ball, right? I'm playing in high school because I want to play in the pros or in college. I'm playing in college because I want to play in the pros. But if I would have focused on being more of a team guy, I'm playing so that I can bring the best version of me to my team so that we can go out as a team and win. That was part of it. But in my mind, it was, I got to play so I can get to the next level.
Yeah.
And to me, looking back, I'm not mad at it. I don't regret it. It just wasn't the right perspective to me. So I just kept working hard and I had to take more ground balls. I got to take more swings than everybody else because I didn't think I could live up to this idea that I had in my head of myself. So once I got done playing baseball, I put the baseball bat down and put the ball down. And then I found speaking.
Hmm.
And I said to myself, I will never get, I'm going to be great at this, period. I never said that in baseball. I just want to play to get to the next level.
Yeah.
I want to work out because I want to get to the next level. Speaking, I said, I'm about to land here and I will not, I will work. I'm going to do this until somebody sees me and says, okay, we got to let him in. We got to let him speak. This guy's been doing it and it took me 16 years to break through. And then once I broke through, you can sit back and put it on cruise control if you want to. But once I broke through, I said, no. You got to figure out a way to keep getting better, keep building, growing your craft, sharpening your skill set. So the thing that drives me at the end of the day to get better is fear. And the fear today is different today than it was back when I was younger.
Yeah.
Fear today is living up to that standard that I have in my mind. The fear when I was younger was, am I good enough to make it to continue to keep playing? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love the idea of the fear that's driving you, because I think you can take that a bunch of different ways. Like, for example, if you like right now, I mean, we're recording this on November 11th, so Veterans Day. And obviously if you're a football fan, if you're an NFL fan, you know that, and especially if you're a Raiders fan, you know that Henry Ruggs III had the DUI issue and he killed a person in an accident. And I can't remember the defensive back for the Raiders, but basically in the same couple of weeks, one of the defensive backs got in trouble for a bunch of stuff that he posted on social media. Right. And so it's interesting because those guys are pushing their bodies, their minds to the very brink of what is possible for a human to do. Right. Because their whole goal is to be successful. And then they finally reach the point where they're making all this money. They have all these accolades and this, attention.
They reach what people think is success.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden they make these bad decisions that cost them everything. And it's like they're lacking that fear that you're talking about, where there should be this fear, not a fear that causes them not to.
It's what coach for the Spurs,
Popovich. Yeah.
He calls it healthy fear.
Healthy fear. Right.
Right. They don't have that. They didn't have that healthy fear.
No, it's like you forgot that you need to protect this stuff, not live in fear, but like that healthy fear. Absolutely. So I think that's so important. So, I mean, for you, has there ever been a point where like you started to kind of get into a place where you thought maybe I can maybe coast a little bit, or have you always just been like, you just going?
The word coast for me, it never crosses my radar. Yeah. However, I have, which I live in today, I'm in a space today, Josh, where I found the perfect balance for me in my life. See, there's a balance, but see, when you're young, you got to go for it. Because when I was younger, I put it all for 16 years. Let's just talk as a speaker. When I was 25, I started speaking. I put blood, sweat, tears. I was obsessed. I was positively obsessed with becoming a household name in the speaking world. I was doing live shows, selling tickets to shows, I was doing anything that I can to get my name and reputation out there. But today I have a balance where if I'm not here to preach to anybody, but I do have faith. If God blessed me with just having to continue to do what I do now, which is speak somewhere between 150 and 200 times a year, 95% of those times are local. I get in my car, go make a difference, come back home, spend time with my family, spend time with Kobe. And when I'm not home, I'm in LA spending time with my daughter, Kendra. Don't have to get on planes and do it because I built my name and reputation locally. If that's all I do for the rest of my life, I'll be the happiest man in the world.
Yeah.
Now, some would say, oh, that's complacent. You call it what you want to, because success is different for everybody, for different people. I had one of my mentees a couple of weeks ago send me a message because he saw another speaker's ad on Instagram, right? So he saw another speaker's ad come up and he sent me a text. He was like, I'm seeing this dude everywhere, and he sent a screenshot. I'm seeing this dude everywhere. I want to see your ads pop up, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
right away, in his mind, because he saw this guy's ad, apparently in his mind, and this is just how I dissect it,
Sure.
he's doing something right.
Right.
Because I'm seeing his ad.
Mm.
Punk is maybe not doing something so right because I don't see his ads.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not running ads. Why? Because I have everything I want right now. Right. I'm not looking to triple my business. I'm just not looking to do that. I love the balance.
Right.
Because success is not just dedicated to work. I've got a wife I've been married to for 22 years. That's success. Mm-hmm. I've got a daughter that I have a relationship with who is moving up, becoming a superstar and a celebrity that I have a connection with. That's success. I have a son who lives in the house, my house, and sees his dad every day. I didn't see my dad every day, right? I have a body that I have to keep healthy and work out and be at a certain level. If I can stay in the best shape of my life, that's success, right? So there's many facets of it. I'm just at an age where I found the perfect balance. I have dreams. Yes. I have goals. Absolutely. But if God didn't bless me with anything other than what I have today, I've lived my life.
100%, man. No, I love that, because I mean, I imagine that there's probably some coaches that are even listening to this, that they may have a program where maybe they're just like a middle of the tier program, right? They don't have a losing record, but they're not winning, section state championships.
Right.
And they might be looking at some of the big dogs in the area thinking like that's success. But they might be doing an incredible job of mentoring their athletes. They're not winning championships. They're not hanging up banners, but they're creating like incredible people that are going to go off and do amazing things. They have a great relationship, like you said, with their families.
So good. Yes.
And they might have a 500 record. Like that's okay. Now, obviously we're all competitive. We want to win.
Right.
But to them, 500 with great people, amazing family, great community impact, that might be success. And I think that's so great, man. That's so wise. And I just want to tell everybody too, that when Kevin says these things about how he finds balance, like he's not lying. And one of the things I appreciate about you is that, there's been times with this podcast, I'm like, hey man, I want to do this every single week. And there's some weeks where you're like, hey man, that's like, you got to do it at 8:30. Cool. Go do it. But that's family time. But I appreciate that about you, man. Cause you could say like, okay, 8:30 and then sacrifice your family time, but that's not who you are. And that's not what would be success to you.
Right.
And so, and
I used to do that though. I grew to this place.
Sure.
It's everything. It's no sleep. Man, I need my sleep, JT.
Yeah.
They talk about team no sleep. Not me.
Yeah.
Not me. You can talk about, I have to get my sleep so that I can be the best version of me for that audience that I'm going to speak to tomorrow. So I used to be like that, where any opportunity to do something to forward my brand and my business, I'm going to do it. I'm just not in that space anymore. Not lazy. It's not about being lazy. It's about having my own priorities and seeing life in my own way. I'm 49. I'll be 50 next year. I hope that I have a little bit of wisdom.
Yeah. Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I don't believe that you're gonna be 50. That's crazy to me.
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
It's crazy to me too, man.
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you though. Obviously, since we've known each other for a little over, I think probably around 11 or 12 years now. Mm-hmm. And obviously, you knew me when I was much younger, just graduating college. But now I have, a wife. I have 2 young daughters. And
beautiful.
I'm in the same mindset, man. Like I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm gonna do this podcast. She's like, no problem. And I said, hey, by the way, I'm going to start another podcast with Bracy. She's like, okay, cool. But the promise I made to her is that, hey, this will never impact what I do with you and the family. I said, so if that means I'm still in a place where I can still stay up and go to bed real late and be okay.
Okay. You can do that. Right.
I'm not team no sleep, but I can, I can hang with them a little bit. But I told her, I said, hey, if I'm pursuing this podcast thing, this dream of mine, if I got to stay up when everybody else is in bed, that's what I got to do. If I have to wake up earlier than everybody to not sacrifice the time, it's just what you have to do. But that's just for me, and that's right for you. You value that time with your family and all these different things, that balance. For someone else, they may have a different balance, but I think whatever that success looks like to you, I think if you are being the best version of yourself, then it's hard to argue with whatever the results might be. They may look
Right.
different for different people, but if you're being the best version of yourself and you can go to bed each night knowing that you're doing, you're doing your best with peace, and that you're making right decisions, then it's hard to argue with that, man.
For sure.
Oh man, I had a thought for you. No, so going back to what you mentioned about your speakers and the speakers that you mentor and all of that, that is an interesting thing, because speakers are competitive, just like athletes, just like coaches.
No question.
And it is, when you go into those types of situations where you're training people that are wanting to go out into the speaking world, or coaches or athletes, it's easy to look to your right and to your left and see the success of someone else, right? Like the success of someone else. So I remember when, I forgot what year it was, maybe 2008, whenever Michael Phelps was doing his thing and was pursuing all of those world records, right?
Killing it.
And there was a Brazilian swimmer that was talking a lot of trash about him, right? And saying this about Michael Phelps. And there was this famous picture where you have the two guys side by side in the lanes. Michael Phelps is a little bit ahead, and the Brazilian swimmer, you see him looking over in the middle of the race at Michael Phelps. The whole idea is like, hey, you're not going to win if you're looking to the guy to your next to you, because you're not looking forward. You're not focused on the goal. You're focused on the person that's pursuing their own path.
Right.
So how do you, what advice would you have for speakers, coaches, athletes who have a real tough time with not focusing on their own goal, but looking at the success of the people next to them?
The first thing that pops up in my head is one of my quotes that says, the quickest way to a state of discouragement is comparison. And the only reason why we look to the right or the left, in most cases, not all, is to compare ourselves to others. Or we're looking to the right or the left to see what he or she might be doing right that we might be able to use, apply where we are, and get ahead. I feel like if you have the personality that you can look at other people and still get your grind on and get your hustle on and not get depressed and not get discouraged because they might be ahead of you or seemingly you think they're doing better than you, when we really don't know what's going on in somebody's life. We don't know, just because that person is winning all these games, this, that, or the other. Is he happy? Does he have joy? Is she enjoying her journey of success? We don't know that. So I just feel like, if you have the personality where you can do that and still move ahead, go for it. But if looking to your right or to your left brings you to a state of depression and a state of, man, they're doing better than me. So you start panicking and you start analyzing and beating yourself up, then you have to do the very best that you can, make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort and decision. Decision, when you look up the root, it means to cut off from any other option. Make a decision that I'm going to keep my blinders on and do what I do. I want to say I've been in the speaking industry now for going on 26 years. My first 10 years, maybe 15, I was looking around at a lot of people, and I found someone out of all the people I was watching. I found the one person that I wanted to follow. And it was Les Brown. Yeah. Once I followed Les Brown, learned. Now I got some tips from Mark Victor Hansen and some of the greats, the Jack Canfields of the world, the Willie Jollies of the world, the Barbara DeAngelis of the world. These are all greats that many people wouldn't even know of today. I was getting bits and pieces from the Tony Robbins, from a lot of people, but Les Brown was my guy. And then once I crossed over, meaning went from being a speaker that was speaking here and there sometimes to a full-time speaker, didn't have to do anything else with my life but speak. And that was the 16th year. Once I crossed over, I stopped looking at other people because I would look at other people, compare myself and be like, I'm better than her, or I'm better than him. And I start getting in my head. So I stopped looking and I just focused on what was the ideas that were being put in me. I didn't worry about especially when you start writing books and things like that. If you got too many people in your head, next thing you know, it's pleasurizing. You're taking other people's ideas. Yeah. So not that there's nothing new under the sun. We get that. Sure. But I decided that I just want to live my life and build my business based upon what God puts in me. There's an idea that he puts in me, like a rhythm in quotes idea that some people don't know what that is, but
they will.
Right. They will.
They will.
Right. I start taking ideas and I apply them myself because I know that I don't have the personality that can look around. So it's you looking at yourself and saying, if you can look around and gain confidence and ideas from somebody else, go for it. If that's not your personality, then you can't. And it's hard not to do it today because social media, it's everywhere.
It's right in your face all the time.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it can lead down a weird road too. And you would know better than me, but I think it's something that, I think coaches can probably get caught up in if they're not careful, where you're so focused on your success and you are looking to your left and your right. And not only are you going to compare yourself, but you might also use the people to your left and your right to get further, right? Like you use them as stepping stones. And I think anytime, at least in my opinion, anytime you use people as stepping stones or pawns to get to where you're trying to go, it feels fake to me. Like it feels like it's hollow, right? And I think I agree. Luckily, I don't know of any coaches that, I'm sure there's a lot of coaches out there that do this. The coaches that we know, they're not like this, but I'm sure there's a lot of coaches that treat their athletes like a chessboard and the pawns. Like they're going to move this athlete here and do whatever it takes and not care about the person who the athlete is.
Right.
But they're simply trying to build up their accolades of state championships and section titles and make, build up their record. And they just, like I said, they just look at their athletes like chess pieces.
Absolutely.
And they're so focused on their success where it's like, I don't care who I tear down. I don't care who I have to step on to get there. I just know that I need to be successful. And in my opinion, like, it's just not success. That's just, you're just tearing people down in the wake of what you're trying to do. And, I just can't, I couldn't go to sleep like that if that was something I was doing. You know what I mean?
As you say that, the thing that comes up in my head is I just called my coach from junior college, American River College. I just called Kevin Higgins about maybe it was a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I got his number from one of my old teammates, Randy Swank, one of my guys, went to San Juan, ended up going to ARC, got drafted by the Giants. And I remember when he got drafted, I was younger than him, going to his house and watching his family's draft party and seeing I think it was a cake, that the San Francisco Giants cake. I was just like, this is that made me even more scared because here he was, you know what I'm saying? He's signed a contract and I'm still playing at AR and I'm hoping one day. But anyway, I called Coach Higgins and I just called him and left him a message. And I just said, man, I just wanted to call you to say thank you. Because I remember when Coach Higgins, he was a realist with me, and he had an intimidating personality and stature. And I was one of those players that I wanted the coach to say, I needed the attaboys. Yeah, I needed that. Yeah. Some people don't need that. Swank didn't need an attaboy. He was going to bang no matter what. I needed the attaboy. But I remember Coach sitting me down in his office, and he was just like, Bracy, play baseball as long as you can. But just know, whether you play baseball or not, you're going to be successful in life. You're going to have a beautiful home. This is his words, beautiful home, 2-car garage, a wife and kids, and you're going to be happy. You're going to be successful because you have the work ethic.
Wow.
Now, those words stuck with me.
Yeah.
They stuck with me over time. So he wasn't using me. He was coaching me and building me up, even though that was the year he told me that when I wasn't starting, and I thought I should have been starting.
Yeah.
But he was,
sure.
I should have at least been DHing.
Something.
And he was, but I remember those types of words. So when you said, some coaches use players as pawns in order to win, I mean, I'm sure that is happening a lot. And I watch sports every day, so I know it's happening, but I'm grateful that my coaches didn't treat me that way.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm sure you've seen this before. And I know this is like a whole nother episode that we're not going to get into on this episode, but recently there was that team down in LA that beat another team 106-0. It was a football team, 106-0. The quarterback threw like 13 touchdown passes in one game, broke a bunch of records. And there was this huge debate on Twitter. Is this right? Is this wrong? Like, how wrong is it? Is it just a life lesson that like the team that lost, you just gotta, hey, you don't like it, stop them. I mean, there's a bunch of different stuff out there. Right. And like I said, it's a whole different conversation, but part of me is like, yeah, it's great that we're highlighting this this win of this team, but like, was it really that difficult? Like, is that really success? Like, you beat a team 106-0.
Right.
Like, I was telling my brother, I feel like I could have played quarterback for that team at that point. You know what I mean? I've never even played a down of football in my life, but it's like, it's a weird thing,
Right.
And so,
but I think we'd have to watch that game to see how it went, because if they were just running plays, just running not trying to run it up, you know what I mean? If they were just running normal plays and kind of getting work in, that's one thing. But if they were like just really rubbing it in, rubbing it in, then that's different,
Well, and that's where that whole debate was, where it's like, if you throw 13 touchdown passes, at what point are you
just going to hand the ball off and
run the ball up the middle to your third string guy? And then, so anyways, it's a whole different conversation. But from the outside looking in, you could make a case like that. Is that coach just using his athletes? Is he using the other athletes, as just a stepping stone to, make this statement? I don't know. It's an interesting conversation, but
it is.
I think to all you coaches, like, we just appreciate what all of you guys do, because, like I said, Kevin, I know that the people that we're connected with, the people that listen to this show, the people that, that we've known over the years, the Kira McKechnie's, the Chris Horners, the Mary Jo Truesdales, the
Ron Barney's,
Jason Tenners over at West Park,
absolutely,
Dana Smith. I mean, we could go on and on.
Fred at San Juan,
Coach Fred, Jay Burns up. I'm not sure where he's at now. He was at Lincoln, right?
Yeah, he was at Lincoln, and now I think he was at Whitney and Lincoln, or maybe his kids went to Whitney, but now he's in Washington Unified.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Coach Tupp. I mean, we know we can go on and on, man. Right. Coach Norman. I'm just thankful that we're connected to so many coaches that I think, and I truly believe, understand what success should look like. And I think every single day they're around their athletes, they're sharing that wisdom with their athletes and helping them to understand what true success looks like. And if you can win games while you're doing it, even better. We're all for that. But, we just wanted to hop on. Like I said, we didn't want to keep everybody too long. This is about 25 minutes. We're going to keep it short. But we just want to talk a little bit about success and what it looks like. So do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, something that I think that the definition of success, I don't think that there's any one definition that you could say, oh, that sums it up. But I guess it's to each its own. But one that I heard that struck me was, success is doing what you love and getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
As an individual. As a team, I'm not talking as a team. I'm talking individually.
Yeah.
Success is doing what you love and getting paid to do it. If you're playing a sport in the NFL, if that's what you love and you're getting paid to do it, then you're successful. If you have a small business in Sacramento, in the city of Sacramento, and you're doing something that you love to do and you're making a living doing that, that's success. So success is it's so many different things to different people, but I think that it's important for each individual to define it for themselves and not judge anybody else for what they think success is. Just because you see somebody doing this and somebody that that does the same thing is not doing it, doesn't necessarily mean they're doing something wrong. They might be right on the path that they need to be on. So it's, everybody, I believe it's important to define success for ourselves and do the best that we can to live every day in that space.
Yep. 100%. Man.
Knowing that failure is part of it.
Right. You got to use that failure to keep growing, for sure.
Right.
And the only thing I would add to is what we talked about at the very beginning. Once you get that success too,
right,
protect it, like have that healthy fear of what life was like before you had it, and remember that and protect it with everything you've got. Make right choices, because, and especially at that point, if you're at a point where you have family, husband or wife, kids, grandkids, like they're all counting on you. Like your legacy is tied to them. And so your success is also tied to them. So just,
and winning is hard.
Yeah.
So yeah. winning in the first place is hard, but to keep winning.
Yeah.
It takes another level of focus, but I think this is also something that's important. Greatness is boring.
That's interesting.
Think about a Tom Brady.
I was going to say Tom Brady.
He does the same thing. He eats the same thing. He does the same routine. He may switch things up, but it's the consistency of sameness over time
Right.
Is what greatness is and what success is. It's getting up I eat the same breakfast every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. And if I switch it up, I'll switch it up and I'll eat that same thing for another 6 months.
Sure.
But I eat the same breakfast every day. I do this, basically some of the same workouts every single day, but it's that would be boring to a lot of people, but it's working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. And we think it's dynamic and success. No. It's really what you do and nobody's looking, and it's habitual. It's repetition, boring, but eventually that pays off in the long run. I stayed focused for 16 years in order to break through in the 16th year. That's a long time of doing the same thing, not getting where I wanted to be, but making progress until I got the breakthrough.
Right. And I think along with that too, what makes it so difficult is along your journey, when you just staying focused, at any one of those points, you probably had the ability and the opportunities to veer off here or there and go astray from what you were trying to do to,
Yes.
like you said, to lose that discipline, but you just chose not to, and like you said, with the Brady, that dude's got so much money right now. He could literally do anything he wants. But he stays focused.
You have to respect that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You 100%. Have to respect that. But I'll say this too, Josh, because this comes up. Staying focused today is one of the hardest things in the world to do because of this thing.
Yep.
Think about it. How many phone numbers do you know in your head?
Oh, like
you
2
have memorized.
2, barely 2, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Even my wife's, I'm like, is that really her number? There's sometimes I'm like, I'm a little, a little shaky there too.
How hard is it today?
Yeah.
To actually sit down and read.
Yeah.
Just like I'm just gonna go chill and read. That if can do that because it's hard to focus. And for the people that say, "Oh, I read all the time," how long you sitting down and reading?
Yeah, I do audiobooks, like audiobooks, like while you're driving on your cell phone. Like, doesn't count.
Absolutely. So when we say focus, it's easy to say it.
Yeah.
But today, let me tell you, if I was just starting to build my speaking business today, I don't know if I would make it. Because there's so many voices and so many people talking. Well, I'm gonna follow this person, that person, and that person, and that person, and that. Oh, this is the new thing, and oh, this is the new thing, and that's the new thing. How do you ever get anything done?
Right.
I started when there was no internet, so I had the ability during that time to focus way more singularly than I do today. But my last words will be this: Mike Murdoch said, "The only reason why men or women fail in life is because of broken focus." You can always trace failure back to a moment where somebody lost their focus.
There we go. We're going to end this thing right there. I love it. And you guys can follow us on all social media platforms at Home Team Sac. Make sure you guys follow us there and keep up with us. Obviously, we drop a podcast every week. And like we mentioned in the very first episode, eventually, this is going to go from behind the mics to on the stage.
Let's go
at some point. And so if you haven't seen Kevin on stage at this point, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll give you a benefit of the doubt. Maybe you're new to the area and you're just not familiar, but we're bringing that here at some point in the future, because we love that. Like I said, I love the behind the scenes stuff when it comes to that, but I know Kevin loves being on the stage, and he's great at it. He's amazing at it. So eventually you guys stay tuned with what we're doing, hear all the great guests we've had, and, keep up with what we're doing. And I know Kevin said he's not going to come on here to sell books. I'll sell the book for him. His book's incredible. It's an incredible book. You could hear his story, some of the ups and downs of his story, and this whole concept of being scared great and pursuing your greatness. You guys need to buy it. You need to tell your athletes, get it for your athletes, get it for your families. Like, Kevin's not going to do it because that's how he is. I don't care. I'll do it. You need to go out and buy this book. And if you I made fun of audiobooks. If you like audiobooks, you got the audiobook out there too. So you really have no excuse. Just get the book.
Yep.
There we go.
Let's go. I appreciate it, JT.
Yes, sir. And we will see you guys next week.
Home team.
Later.
Go.